Welcome to Matchday 9 Division 2 of a Simulation Soccer League. I'm Sock, joining you today for a bit more of a softer cast than the solo cast might usually be. Unfortunately, we've had a bit of a late one, and myself is the only one awake, being that I am living in the future, and everyone else has suffered through their own issues. Some have had connectivity loss, and others are just feeling under the weather. So we hope both the internet lines and the people get better soon. Now, to dive into the matches that we have, to start us out, we have AS Paris taking on Reykjavik United. Man, what a great way to start us out. AS Paris, the top of the table side, they've been absolutely en fuego. Came off a win last time out and look to respond once again. They'll immediately have the opportunity to go through here, and Papadopoulos had a shot opportunity, but taken away there by Letitia, who clears it upfield, and nothing comes of the danger. It is Zayed who ran it out for a goal kick. Reykjavik United did come off a loss against, I believe, Montréal United. AS Paris currently in a promotion spot, looking to push themselves there, have a 3-point gap over Montreal and a win over a mid-table potential contender that could launch themselves forward. So very much on the outside looking in for them, as that one took a bounce off Sparkle, and now with O'Rourke and Letitia knocks it back to the centre of the park and to regather themselves. Andrews will go back to Pop-Tart. Again, just works back for a diver. Opta finds Zayed, and here's Claudio Scarpetta inside ball, and a good shot by O'Rourke is saved by Bartlett. Again, going to be a bit more lackadaisical here. We're not going to be loud, we're not going to be over the top. This is a quiet one, mainly because people have to sleep. Alistair now with Sparkle. Over to Oak, covered by Minone. Horvath has a shot blocked by Andrews, and Lopta will head clearance back into Paddy territory, and Brisky will send it back with Newport to Horvat. And Pelletier now to Cortez. Cortez goes inside for Papadopoulos. It is a well-aimed header, but it was right at Kazenga Lualua, who was able to put it into the clutches before it went underneath the bar. By ball there, Sparkle misses a challenge. Andrews being harassed by Sparkle and Oak. Malone, Letitia. All that shall cover. Letitia whips to the far post. Zayed shot is saved well by Bartlett, who had to dive to his left a bit. Of course, Bartlett, very short in stature, only 4 feet 11 inches tall. We were discussing this following our previous broadcast that I was on, and we mentioned that having some very tall players at the front. Sky Rise, initially listed at 7 feet 10 inches tall, is only 6 feet 11 inches tall. The tallest one can be, as Andrews finds a tap in and nearly had it, but ended up just striking it against the outside of the post. To come back to that point, Bartlett is the shortest player at 4 feet 11 inches tall, at least by my records. And having him as keeper while having 6 foot 11 Sky Rise as a forward feels like an odd dichotomy, but one that is enjoyable. Frisky here with a direct free kick that challenged Lualua and beat him, but also couldn't find the target. A tough opportunity, but a good one taken, and probably Paddy's best chance in this match thus far. Frisky to take another corner, with 10 minutes left of the half, has it headed clear. Cortez recovers and brings it to the right flank. Trying to find Papadopoulos, but missed him, and Letitia was able to clear it. Reykjavik commenced their counter-attack. Going up against Washburn, the ball whipped into the middle. Zayed tries a header, but puts too much on it. A couple of minutes remaining in the half. Sparkle will throw out from close in Reykjavik territory. All that works its way around the gnome and tries a shot, but put it high. One last opportunity for either side before the break. Andrews is able to recover A paddy throw. Pop-tart. Back to the diver. Work it forward. Zaid just able to find Manone. O'Rourke inside for Brisky. His back passes it back for Barflett. Pelletier to Brisky, and now Cortez. Paddy looking to lead a counter-attack and tries to send Papadopoulos through. It looks like the diver and Roberto Scarpetta have him covered. He passes back to Brisky. Cortez tries a shot, but it is blocked by the diver, and Scarpetta clears it out for a throw. Nothing comes of the opportunity, so we go to half-time, 0-0. 7 corners to 1. Expected goals total that slightly favours Reykjavik, but all in all a fairly even game. No way to pick a side one way or the other. As we wait for the commencement of the second half. No changes to either side in this one. So we get rolling once more, 11 v 11. Andrews beats Sparkle on the dribble, tries to find O'Rourke on a through ball, but Newport covered it off and gets the back pass for Bartlett to clear. Paddy then leads an immediate counter-attack. Letitia closely marking Alistair, and Alistair opts to go all the way back for Brisky with an adventurous ball. The ball back in, intended for Alistair, was intercepted. Quite a crowd has made it to this game. 38,449. Quite impressive. Bad through ball has no target, and Brisky is there to pick up the pieces. Moral Cacahuefas perhaps to just gain territory. O'Rourke sends Zaid through on a through ball, but his shot goes wide, not troubling Bartlett, though probably Reykjavik's best opportunity thus far, perhaps the best opportunity for either side of this match. Papadopoulos nearly has it one back off of him, but it falls back to Oak. He sends to Newport, and now with Brisky. Brisky now to Cortez, closely marked by Claudio Scarpetta. Inside ball, Papadopoulos' shot is saved by Lua at close range. No real chance to change his angle, couldn't find a decent one to put into a corner, so decided to take a shot on and hope to beat him with power. Through ball there to Pelletier is offside, and he missed the shot nonetheless. Following that free kick from the offside, O'Rourke tried to find Manone on a through ball, but Peter Rowe covered him off. Papadopoulos has tried to send through on a run, but again it is headed back. By that time Pop-Tart finds Andrews, who is offside. Both teams, thus far, have been evenly matched. At one point, it nearly sets Montreal through. However, Papadopoulos was nearly able to make it free, though a good save by Lua on a shot from just inside the penalty area makes it a corner kick. If he tries to find Papadopoulos, Buladiver wins the battle in the air. Andrews is able to run it out, challenged by Horvat, but not by much. Eventually, however, does lose it to him. Sparkle for Horvat and sends Alistair through on the left flank. Alistair goes back to Oak. Sends back to Alistair. Shot was blocked by Letitia, and it ended up falling for Manone. A good tackle by Oak though wins the ball back for Paris just inside Reykjavik territory. Isabella Cortez uses open space to try and take advantage of that right side, with a pass called the back heel of the player. That was intended target, and ends up nothing coming of it. I believe it hit the back heel of Pelletier. Speaking of which, he tries to clear up for Papadopoulos, but again the ball is sent back by Lediver. Manone tries to find Letitia on the right flank, but that time it's Alistair that cuts it off. Alistair and Papadopoulos working together to move the ball slightly forward, then Oak sends a through ball to Papadopoulos that is well saved by Lua and goes out for a corner kick. 25 minutes remain in this match, and neither side have been able to break the keepers of Bartlett and Lua. The corner comes to nothing. Paris have slowly been building their attack, and they look to take advantage of it, but that time they won't be able to do so as it's cleared away. Oak, however, is able to bring it back in, and Horvat's shot troubles Lua, but isn't able to find the net. With about 15 minutes left, Brisky takes a corner kick and is headed clear by Roberto Scarpetta. Milan Horvat is first to the ball after it clears the penalty area and is back with Newport. Cortez sends a crossing ball that eventually cuts out Brisky. Papadopoulos' shot is blocked by Roberto Scarpetta. He makes two great defensive plays to prevent a potential goal, but however, it does result in another corner kick. That time looking to the far post, but the diver was able to head it clear. Cortez again tries to take advantage of a wide open right side, and the cross is blocked out by Zaid and goes out for another corner. Pari have had at least 9 corners this match but have not been able to score from any of them. Trying to find Cortez ends up having it cleared by Claudio Scarpetta and out for another throw-in. 14 shots by Pari thus far, but only 4 have been on target. And whenever Lua has been challenged, Lua has been able to make some decent saves. Nothing spectacular, but the job has been done. Reykjavik end up having their attack cut down by Twilight Sparkle. Back with it, sends a ball up to McAllister. Oak tries to get Papadopoulos free. Cortez angles for a run, is able to chip the keeper and score. Huge advantage in this match, with so little time left. Not the person that was likely expected to be making that run in. Barely able to beat Claudio Scarpetta on inside leverage, and then with Lua playing off the line to try and narrow the angle, Cortez placed a picture-perfect chip shot to clear the hands of Lua and find the net. You see how close that is. Was barely able to keep themselves onside, and a perfectly timed ball results in a goal. Hard to argue that they have not deserved it with the chances that they have been able to create. However, Reykjavik will not look to go quietly into the night. The diver will send a through ball trying to find Letitia, but believe he was offside, so backed off. Sparkle, Alistair and Oak again working together. This is how they created the first goal. The slow triangle play until they eventually find a through ball up, and that time it's to Horvat, and now Alistair. Alistair walks back to Horvat, and then back to Oak. Again, that triangle taking advantage of man marking is going very well. Horvat's cross finds an open Cortez, and that time Lua makes a spectacular save. Had to work hard for that one. 91st minute corner kick here from Andrews. Is whipped in, and is barely saved away by Bartlett. The rebound fell. Was a shot taken by O'Rourke that was blocked out, and then a diver header that was saved by Bartlett. Massive play, and Pari may have very well taken 2 points from that one. However, the job is not done yet. O'Rourke is found running on the right flank. Cross hits back off of Washburn, and it falls to Alistair. They immediately look to gain territory by sending it through Oak, Alistair, Horvat and Papadopoulos. They pivot back over to Newport. Newport has his through ball headed away by Ladiva. Andrews tries to carry it forward, but isn't unable to keep it from going over the sideline. This very well may take us to full time, with Pari likely holding onto the ball for these final few seconds. And that is exactly what occurs. AS Pari take a very crucial Game 1 win. This will move their record to 6 wins, 2 draws and 1 loss, with a plus 17 goal differential. They sit equal on goal differential with Buenos Aires and 1 point clear, for now. Buenos Aires still have to play their game. Reykjavik have to lick their wounds, going to a negative goal differential for their first time, and likely have seen their promotion hopes fade, with having to pick up 10 points in 5 games to challenge. 9 in 5 if they do want to try and get past Buenos Aires, but they would also have to make up 17 goals in differential. A very difficult prospect for them. I have a great appreciation for how tough Pari had to work in that match. They did an excellent job of continuing to press the issue. However, their finishing did not seem clinical enough. However, that was fixed in the second half, with a great chip by Cortez, who was able to find the back of the net. The Pari attack has been working well, and I feel like it's been why they've been able to have such great success. Reykjavik, I don't feel like have been able to fix what I think has been a kind of remedial issue, with Lachlan O'Rourke suddenly finding himself in a dry spell of goals. With that, we move on to our second match, Seoul at home, facing Buenos. And I promise you this time, I will not leave Seoul's side. Last time was a one-off occurrence, I hope. But for this one, I look forward to seeing it. Buenos Aires, currently first. That shot, the tough shot by Hugh there was troubled by Oakdown, so had to put it over the top, but it went over the top of everything. A tough opportunity, but an early one that will hopefully show some positive signs for the rest of the match. Seoul Mythic, interestingly, have the third highest goal differential, but this is thanks to a 12-3 victory they had over Red Star Laos. However, this does put them slowly in the mid-table, even discounting that. They only have a -1 goal differential through 9 games. Buenos Aires, of course, we have discussed previously, and how they are a very strong side to contend with. Of course, they are the leaders going into today, and look to maintain that advantage. A draw would keep them even with AS Paddy, but they would look to hopefully snag 3 points out of this encounter, especially given who AS Paddy just beat. Here's Mike Checker, who comes in to try and take a shot from just outside the area, but is blocked out. With him playing forward, it allows the defenders have to work harder, but eventually do so, and Sigvard of Katarina is able to clear the ball out from any imminent danger. Imminent danger? I hope I said that right. I apologize if I did not. Speaking of which, Sigvard of Katarina has received a yellow card. Liam Ryan, running down the right flank here, is able to beat Brugspatron. Ryan, however, ends up losing the ball after a hefty challenge. A mistake on a pass nearly leads to a goal, but JJ Okocha is only able to just put it wide. Another finesse attempt that looked to find the net, but wasn't able to do so. Knight passes up to Gorkov. Ryan eventually peels off of him, but it allows Gorkov a lot of space in the midfield. Lavera's pass is cut out by Tenderloin, but he can only clear it to Brugspatron, who tries to head it back in. However, again, nothing comes of the attack, and Seoul ends up back with it. Miller sends Okocha through, and a lob-through pass. Okocha's shot is saved there by Oakdown, and Knight ends up rescuing the rebound before it goes out for a corner kick. Knight passes back to Oakdown, who clears it up to Ryan, who is able to just quell it for the moment. Che Guevara has been booked, an indirect free kick as a header, but it's saved. Wasn't quite able to catch who, and that sea of bodies was able to try and make that shot, but it was a solid attempt. Oakdown will send it all the way over to the opposition half, where Edward Vandersloff has been found in space. Gorkov also finds an open look, however, puts too much on it, and ends up going out for a goal kick. Manuel Neuer didn't even attempt a shot at it. Man tries to go to the far post, but Oakdown, surprisingly, ends up going to cover that off, and ends up making a save. Oakdown clears long, and again looks for Vandersloff, and finds him yet again as Tenderloin went up for a contest and couldn't find it. Vandersloff's header tries to find Gorkov. Vandersloff's cross rather tries to find Gorkov. And eventually he heads across it back in, where Talienko and Rivera both took blocked shots. Okocha passes back for Jiricek, who has a lot of space. He passes back to Okocha. Okocha tries to vault it over to the other flank where Liam Ryan is waiting. He tries to pass in, but Che Guevara sends it back out. Gorkov now on a break, having to be chased now by Muller, and then Ryan. Ryan tries to block off the opportunity, and ends up fouling him. Ryan receives a verbal warning, and nothing more. Muller tries to send through Man, but Man ends up just pulling up and ends up getting the ball anyway. Guevara may have played too far back to try and cover things off. However, it benefits him nonetheless as they end up winning the ball back. Gorkov on the left flank sends a ground pass outside the area to Tally, then to Calavera, and an open Mike Checker runs in to try and take a shot, which is blocked by Pork Tenderloin. Juracek ends up finding it back before it goes out for the corner kick and clears it out long. Vandersloff passes into Knight, who's at the centre of the area. His shot was blocked briefly by Aloisi, whose name has not been called very often this match. Carly sends a through ball to Checker, and Vandersloff's shot ends up not troubling Neuer at his near post by it going wide. Muller's indirect free kick is nearly able to find the head of JJ Okocha, however it is headed back by Buenos. Danny Paul cleans it up, and Calavera does a very good job of making the tackle to get the ball back. Calavera's attempted ball in is blocked by Mertz, and he sends a short forward ball to Man, who ends up converting with a powerful shot, but is called back for offside. I thought he was in line with Guevara, but he was not. And as such, Man is called back for it, and ends up being 0-0 as we go to half-time. 3 yellow cards thus far for Buenos Aires, in spite of being equivalent in fouls. They've had the majority of possession and the majority of the chances, though again, their finishing just hasn't been on target. Seoul will be very much worrying about this allowed goal, as that would be a huge opportunity for them to take a big lead going into the break and potentially vault them up the standings, especially with Reykjavik dropping points. They would only be able to climb that one spot, of course, but it would still be a spot they would climb. Of course, they would not be knowledgeable of this right now, as due to all games being played simultaneously, they only believe that AS Paddy is currently equal with Reykjavik right now. However, a win would still put them up in the standings. As one substitution has been made by Seoul Mythic, Darren Speed has come on to replace Ivan Jiricek. No sign of Jack Carl in this match. And no sign of any subs for Buenos Aires. Aloisi will walk it forward and passes off to Ryan. Ryan's attempted cross is blocked out by Gorkov, but goes out for a corner. He sends a cross in, trying to find Aloisi, but is headed clear up, I believe, by Vandersloff. Corner now at the other side of the pitch. Guevara rescues the head clearance outside of the area, brings it back inside, but is challenged off the ball by Aloisi. The tackle, however, is won back by Guevara due to no one being there to try and clean up the pieces once the ball was cleared out. Wisdeltron and Calavera both looking to try and challenge Ryan in speed, and eventually Paul comes over to cover instead of Ryan. The ball in for Vandersloff heads to the head of Tali. A shot that very luckily ended up hitting the bar and then falling back into the hands of the goalkeeper. Perhaps they should be counting their lucky stars there, but that shot did not go in. Gorkov has a lot of open space here and attempts a long shot, but ends up sending it very high. Knight with a throw in right at midfield. Tali goes to Gorkov, and Knight is just barely able to get his way by Ryan. Passes back to Tali, and back with Knight. Knight again closely marked by Ryan, goes back to Brooks Patron. Goes over to Calavera, and Brooks Patron, and back with Knight. Brooks Patron to Calavera, fires over to Knight, who gets a nice volley cross in, and Calavera makes another shot, and Neuer barely makes a save, though there may be a contest there from Buenos Aires, but he took that into his own net. But the linesman may have just been there and was able to rule it out. Nearly an hour has gone in this game, and again neither side has broken the deadlock, but Laurent Gorkov was able to do so, just as I say it. Able to find a finesse shot with his left foot, but finds the bottom right corner of the net. Neuer may have gotten a hand to it, but wasn't able to clear it far enough. As we watch the replay, Calavera ends up finding a pass to Guevara in the centre of the park. It goes over the left side of Tali, who one touches it over. It looked like it did take a touch off Neuer, and Neuer was not able to block it out. Here we get a look at just how close it was, and Gorkov was able to step his way back on side, even though Kjell Holmberg had appealed, but he was not in the correct position. Here Buenos Aires again are able to capitalise on a game where they have had a majority of the shots. 15 shots to 7 right now. A cross in is well held by Oakdown, as he had to step out to try and get to it, but he did well to gamble in that contest. Mertz headed out to Muller, on the clearance, and Aloisi is sent through on a through ball. His one-on-one opportunity is slotted, and shortly after the goal has been scored by Buenos, Baraka Aloisi equalises as they're able to finally get that goal on the board. It was a quick sender. Mertz, Muller, Paul and Mann. A Mann through ball was able to beat both Guevara and of Catarina, and Aloisi beats Oak down at his near post and ends up scoring an equaliser at home. Buenos Aires immediately looked to strike back from the kickoff. However, a good tackle by Darren Speed cuts out that opportunity. Okocha goes to Muller, who then finds Mann. Trying to maybe find Aloisi on a run, he instead looks to the left side where the substitute Darren Speed is waiting, and his ball in finds Hugh Mann, who ends up slotting home yet another goal, and Seoul, just as quickly, have scored 2 goals in as many minutes to give them the lead. A shocking turn of momentum, as they're able to find a very open player in Speed, not closely marked there by Vanderslof, and his passing was able to find Hugh Mann, who was uncontested and have a 7-yard volley, which was able to beat Oak down at the far end. Once more, we immediately see a highlight from the kickoff, as Checker will send a long ball in for Tali, who ends up finding Knight on a run. Knight tries to find Vanderslof, who's barely able to keep the ball in play. Vanderslof's ball is able to barely beat the legs of Muller, and Calavera had an opportunity with Tali, but was eventually cleared out for a corner. Gorkov's cross is cleared out, and nothing comes of the opportunity. We nearly saw some very quick fire goals. However, there is no opportunity yet for Buenos Aires. Interestingly, both sides have now received 3 yellow cards each. Gorkov has an indirect free kick, which Vanderslov hits very hard and nearly hits the bar, but ends up going over instead. A long clearance attempting to find Okocha is headed back by Brooks Patron. A long through ball is swept up by Mertz before it can find the leg of Governo, who again has been relatively quiet this match. A long ball finds Aloisi, who opts to just pass back for Paul to try and build an attack. Liam Ryan has room on the right edge, who is able to beat Gorkov and find a cross in for JJ Okocha. However, his shot is wayward, likely wasn't able to time it, and ends up sending it wide right. Darren Speed is able to intercept the clearance, goes back to Danny Paul, and they opt to try and build a slow attack instead of trying those long through balls that have been exceptionally successful for them thus far. Mann had an opening on his right edge, but instead goes to the centre for Baraka Aloisi, whose left foot strike is able to net him a double. That very well may be a huge upset in the grand scheme of things, but Seoul Mythic look to have found their footing in this division, as they have taken a 3-1 lead over Buenos Aires, a team that was looking to perhaps go into the promotion spots. However, this may be another case of where they aren't able to capitalise on their first half beautiful play, and now they find themselves steering a 6-1-2 record and potentially being caught. However, they still have to await the results of the other matches. They were looking to get a goal back here though. Checker ends up finding Vanderslof in the centre of the area. Knight tries to find a shot in, but Muller was able to be there and clear it away. However, now the attack breaks down, and there may be a huge opportunity here for Vanderslof to be receiving a card. He does, however, it's only yellow, as the last defenders were back enough to not have it be an obvious goal-scoring opportunity. Darren Speed receives a yellow card of his own, so both teams have received 4 yellow cards. In a hard-fought match, Muller's indirect free kick is only able to be cleared out. Werner goes back to Knight, and Knight is trying to run it down the left flank. Buenos Aires likely know this match is lost, but would like to at least try and keep their goal difference within striking distance of AS Paris. However, that is unable to occur, as Aloisi will opt to just take it to the right side and likely try and drain the clock out. His cross ends up finding Okocha on the other side. Okocha ends up sending a cross that finds Mann on the other side, who doesn't need to do anything, as the referee decides that enough is enough, and the whistle goes. Both sides had equal shots on target. However, Buenos Aires' lack of being able to put their shots on target, with 9 off-target shots to 5, and 14 more shots overall, was likely what did them in. Both teams had to play hard, 4 yellow cards being issued, though no one sent off just yet. Hugh Mann wins the Player of the Match award, and very likely deserved. With it, Seoul Mythic have found themselves in 4th place in the standings, and they will remain there with 11 points, as they have just moved clear of Reykjavik, who have been finalised at 10. Buenos will end up at 19 points and 2nd in the standings. That much is guaranteed, with AS Paddy moving up to 20. A huge shakeup has occurred, and with another match that will be sure to excite some fans, Montreal United and AC Romana will both have their opportunities to try and make that gap up. AC Romana have been a pure results-oriented team, going 4-0-4, while Montreal United have as many wins, but have also been able to salvage 2 with a very stout defence, combined with an offence that has not been able to produce very much. 9 goals. 9 goals. And that's the match we'll be going to now. One of the players looked like he wasn't lining up well for the anthems. That has nothing to do with this match. I just thought it was funny to see. Also, it is worth noting that there are 2 known players. I previously mentioned one from Reykjavik. Here's Dominic Vilk, who was on a few match days ago and ended up scoring a match-winning goal, even though he was not scheduled to come on. A long shot there ends up finding Hill, who was able to make a good save. Barcelotito, who is a recent debutant, ends up trying to trouble Brian Duke with a shot, but it ends up going high and wide. Romana's best chance of the match ends up going begging. However, there is a long way to go. Rain is falling here in Rome, as Nunez finds Jeffrey Levert, whose shot is blocked by a crowd of players. Nunez ends up trying to send a long shot that is Tyson Nunez, there is of course Tyson and Milton Nunez, but Tyson Nunez's header ended up clearing everyone except for the goalkeeper, and Brian Duke was able to handle it no problem. Bismo Funyuns follows across following a throw-in. It is parried, but being cleared out by Romana. And I do wish to come back to it. It is worth remembering that there is a Dexter Manone on Montreal United and a Dante Manone on Reykjavik United, so you can't even differentiate them by first initial. This is all I really have interesting to say, as nothing really has occurred in this match. Both sides find themselves locked at 0-0. There's nothing else here. I don't know what you want. No one's really troubled anyone. And, you know, just one chance that was just ended up going wide, and that's it. Having a commentary partner is unfortunately taking its toll on me. One substitution has been made. Tyson King will be coming on as the main forward in place of George Murphy. Montreal United opted to come as they are, and will not be continuing on in them. Excuse me, they will not be making any changes to their tactics. Dexter Manone ends up finding himself with a lot of open space and takes advantage of it with a long run. Milton Nunez tries to cut him down, but before he can get there, he passes off to Dominic Vilk. He sends an inside ball to Charles Andrew Simon at Liabaralunga, who has a very muted celebration. However, he ended up still beating Hill for the goal, and it ends up giving Montreal United a crucial 1-0 lead. Of course, it is worth remembering that right now, they have no idea on what the result will be in the Buenos Aires game. However, as we know from watching this match, they are in a long contest. As you see there, Smart ended up placing Casual on, which allowed him to take that shot. Being within 2 points with 5 games to go is absolutely a makeable occurrence. And Montreal will very likely look to build on that lead. One of the substitutes warming up, but likely to no avail unless there is a potential injury. Tom Pedersen is found with a lot of room as he's challenged by Tyson Nunez, and up trying to tangle with the goal line and Nunez, though eventually the ball just pops free on his attempted clearance. Romana are unable to clear it up very long, and Dexter ends up sending Casual through, and a good save by Hill is barely kept in to make sure that they keep within their clutches. It seems like a signature low-scoring Montreal match. However, Romana, with about 4/5 of the way gone, will look to try and send one through with Milton Nunez on the left flank. His cross towards the far post is held after the shot by Brian Duke. Brian Duke is able to hold on to yet another chance. Ends up just boosting it clear. Worth noting, as we see Montreal attempting to mount an attack, that they face Buenos Aires Matchday 11. Casual's header goes wide. If Buenos Aires and Montreal are facing off there, then Buenos Aires only have their match against, I believe, AC Romana to try and make that up, while Montreal will have a date with Red Star Laos. Milton Nunez had a shot that attempted to find the top corner of the net and nearly did. However, Brian Duke had it covered off. 8 minutes left in this match. Tyson Nunez sends in a corner. However, Brian Duke comes out for it and takes it at the edge of the 6-yard box. An injury has occurred. Charles Andrew Simon Utley Abada is currently in a lot of trouble, and looks like he will be having to come off for a substitution in the final couple of minutes of this match. They only have 2 players on their bench, Xavier Valorian and Lennox Prakash. It looks like Valorian will be the option for them. As he comes on, with 4 minutes currently on the 4th official's board. Funyuns crosses over to Peterson on the left flank. He goes back to Moda, and Moda whips the ball in towards Vilk. Vilk sends it back inside. Funyuns has a shot, and it's a tough one for Hill to try and gather in, but he does so. An offside is unfortunately unable to procure any opportunities. Vilk passes up to Valorian, and Vilk tries to find another through ball. However, that one's cut out by Milton Nunez. AC Romana will look to work the ball up quickly in order to have any chance of getting points out of this match. Ronaldo da Silva opts to try and chip it over the top for Fasolatido. His header is able to be swept up though by AJ Williams. Looks like Montreal will be able to hold on to the ball for these final 30 seconds, or perhaps less, in order to get themselves a 3 points away from home. They'll put themselves right in contention for a promotion spot. Despite an attempt to clearance up towards Tyson King, he is unable to do anything with it. Montreal comes away with a huge 3 points against a mid-table foe, and have put themselves right into the race with Buenos Aires. A good all-around performance from this side. Player of the match will be going to centre-back Yves Mathieu. With that, we find ourselves in the final match day. Rather, the final match of the day. We still have 5 more match days to go through. It is 7th versus 8th, Adowa Accra versus Red Star Laos. Both teams are basically fighting for their own position in this, with Accra currently holding the advantage thanks to goal difference. Both teams currently sit on 5 points. However, Accra have had a pretty decent defense with 13 goals conceded in their 8 matches. However, their offense has been severely lacking, only scoring 6 goals in those 8 games. Red Star Laos have been able to score 9 goals in 8 games. They have conceded 37. I apologize if I was a little bit louder than usual. I just think it was a good point of emphasis to perhaps pull you out of if you're feeling a little tired tonight, or today, or whenever you're watching this. Clovis Paya gets us underway for Red Star Laos. Unfortunately, I do not have access to any tactics, so I haven't been able to go over them. I wish I could. Unfortunately, the availability, thanks to my commentary partners being out of commission is beyond me, and, well, that's all I have to say on that. A huge mistake there. It's given away to Dimitar Berbatov, and 9 yards out, and with an immediate touch, he makes no mistake. One has to wonder the moral tackle efforts that went through Barry's head. He sends this pass out to Tilo, and just sent it right back to Berbatov, who was standing right in his way. One has to question the decision making. Mikhail Laudrup takes a tough shot that cannons off of the crossbar. Likely should have gone in there and would have equalised the Red Star Lao. He had it taken away from him by Zaoni. Zaoni boosts it clear, but only as far as Chad Johnson. As Adowa sends it to Laudrup, Furio's chicken shot goes over the top, but he was offside. Andrew in time sends it across for Clovis Paye, who wasn't able to erect his header on net. Time throws it in for Johnson, who gives it off to Azevedo. Back with time, Johnson finds Laudrup. Laudrup tries to give Matchday time an opportunity to cross it in, but it ends up being headed away by Freddie. Laudrup's shot ends up being powerful, but does not find the target. Berbatov with an opportunity to run down the left side, closely followed by Barry. His ball lane is cut out by time. Johnson has it taken from him by Silver Druid, and Konstantin Selic is able to get himself on the receiving end of the pass to slot home a nice goal. About 16 yards out with his left foot, but ended up beating Nelly Sully. There you see how open Selic was and how he easily had a route one-on-one. However, he did only have a near post option. Nonetheless, he was still able to slot it home. This feels like a very much inverse case of the rest of the matches. Well, I suppose not in some ways. It feels more like a carbon copy of the Seoul and Buenos Aires game. Whether the team that had the majority of the shots wasn't able to find on target, and the one that did have the minority of the shots ended up being able to capitalize on their opportunities. Zoni finds a long through ball and ends up finding Selic. He tries to go to the near post again, but this time Nelly Sully cut the angle off and is able to make a save. That takes us to half time, where Accra lead 2-0. They've only had one shot off target all game. Red Star have had as many shots off target as Accra have had shots. It also makes up 50% of their total. Aside from that, the teams have been even. There's just been mistakes that have troubled Red Star Lao that have resulted in them giving up the goals. And it is clear that Joe McCarty will have to give them an absolute all-time spray to try and get them to salvage something from this match. Though one has to say, the season may very well be written off. I know that promotion is beyond reproach, with 14 points having to be made up in 5 games. I'm hoping that none of the other teams are able to make that deficit back up. With Montreal and Buenos Aires both have to face each other, it's a wonder if that will occur. Close opportunity for Red Star Lao early in the half is nearly able to find the target, but was turned away. I'm also realizing that earlier in this broadcast I mentioned the attendance. It seems like the attendance figures are same throughout the Simulation Soccer League. So saying that as a statement of fact that may blow people's minds may be, perhaps, uncouth. An era in this game is gone, and Red Star Lao have not been able to trouble Luke Larac as of yet, at least not with anything with much venom. Speaking of which, he clears it out long, where it is headed forward, and now an opportunity to launch a counter-attack. Laudrup goes to the left side with Mazrin Time. Time attempts to pass it back in for Laudrup. Laudrup is closely followed there by Faradian. And across, however, was able to find Clovis Paye, who was close in, and was able to get by Freddie unmarked. His shot was able to beat Luke Larac that time, and they end up scoring a very solid goal. And you see it again. Matchroom time with a lateral ball that beats the leg of Freddie. Larac is there trying to cover it off, but it ends up finding the foot of Paye, who's able to send it to the open side, and ends up scoring their first goal of this game, to bring it to within one. Konstantin Selic has found an indirect free kick. However, he was in front of the direct free kick, who was the last offender, and is offside. Just over 15 minutes left. Tamana Whittington will pass the ball up to Selic, however, he is taken from him by Megamind. Megamind will send the ball long, but there is no one in the vicinity. And Luke Larac just ends up being able to scoop it up just on the edge of the area. He nearly made the mistake of having the outside of the area and giving away a very tough free kick. I imagine that it wouldn't be worth a card though, given how close it was. Perry heads it over to Time. His pass goes up to find Furious Chicken, covered closely by Faradian. Pass back to Time. Inside ball for Johnson. Time tries a shot, however, puts too much underneath it. Time is slowly ticking away from Red Star Laos's opportunity to try and score. However, Accra are the ones who look to perhaps put an insurance goal and make it so that Red Star Lao have no real chance of coming back. Ends up heading out to cross. It goes out for a throw-in, laterally to where he stood, about 12 yards out from the goal line. Whittington sends a close ball just past Johnson to Faradian. Faradian looking to park it, ends up just sending the ball right off of Mazin in time and back out for a throw-in. This time, just near that corner circle. Diane is really stalling for time here, and the referee may need to warn him. Diane sends an inside ball for Whittington, and he tries to find, I believe it was Silver Druid, however it was cleared away by Megamind, or at least one of the defenders. Silver Druid with a direct free kick ends up hitting the outside of the netting. 3 minutes left of stoppage time. Matchroom Time will have to stand it up quickly to give Red Star Lao any opportunity of getting a point here. However, they will still remain 8th in the standings very likely, given how little time is left. Time's ball in is cleared out, and as such, the game ends, with Accra taking a 2-1 home victory over Red Star Lao. 4 players clocked in for 7.2 match rating for Adowa Accra. Mital Berbatov, Konstantin Selic, Zahuni, and Freddy. I have to get the first name here, excuse me. Sator Freddy, and let's see Zahuni on my roster. Oh, Sami Zahuni, my mistake. Player of the match will actually go to Matchroom Time, whose assist was able to get him and his general crossing in will give him a 7.9 match rating. A player of the match in a loss. A rare thing to see, but they at least had it occur. As that will take us to the end. You see the standings there, AS Paddy and Buenos Aires end up swapping spots but still are in line for promotion. With Seoul Mythic suddenly, oh goodness me, there seems to be an error in the standings, the ones that I was using at least, because it seemed like Seoul have one more loss than they should have, in fact 2 more losses than they should have, because they actually have a 5-2-2 record and are now suddenly in a tight tussle for a promotion spot. I should have realised that. The wins didn't seem to add up. Well, nonetheless, that suddenly has put the promotion race right in the balance. AS Paris, Buenos Aires, Seoul Mythic and Montreal United are all within 3 points of each other. I apologise to Seoul Mythic for my error. Nonetheless, Red Star Lao have ended up back on tough pegging, as they will now be writing off their promotion opportunities due to being out of reach. And yes, that is the issue. Red Star Lao have a win recorded, but we'll handle that when the time comes. Nonetheless, for all of us here at the Simulation Soccer League team and the broadcast usual partners who I hope will get better soon, I've been Sock. We'll see you next time.